Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me. I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want, yeah. Rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooter's gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I've won, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me. I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me. I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one.
Ladies and gentle sirs, I should just say gentle sirs. Hope you're doing great. Good morning. Happy Saturday. What's been new with me as we get some people in here? First, I got a new PlayStation controller, really PC controller. This is a DualSense Edge wireless, but it's wired. The newest PS5 controllers actually come with back paddles, which is something that Scuf, which is a pretty popular gaming controller, has been doing for a long time. So I'm happy to see these guys have come around to build back paddles. I'm a keyboard and mouse player as well as a controller player. I think I've been playing controller a lot longer on games like, in every game you could think of, going all the way back to Tecmo Super Bowl, but even like Modern Warfare 2019 and Warzone 1. But I've since been playing keyboard and mouse and gotten good at it, and there's advantages to both, right? You got aim assist on on a controller, then on keyboard and mouse you can flick really quickly, and if you're fucking good at it, you basically outgun everybody. But this thing, I was having some serious input lag, for those of you gamers, on a Scuf, basically a DS4 controller, and I couldn't fucking figure it out. For the longest, I did everything imaginable to reduce the input lag on that controller. It was noticeable in gunfights. And then I simply got a DualSense Edge, PS5 controller, and the input lag's gone. So I don't know what is up with Scuf controllers, but it's not the first that I've heard of that thing. All right, so as we get some people in here, let's talk about DHT feels first. Again, I just want to quickly make the point. DHT shouldn't be underrated, man. I mean, I think people underestimate the power of that hormone insofar as giving you strong erections, good libido, good estrogen control, essentially at the genetic level, as well as the masculine feels. Somehow there's been a narrative on the web that DHT past puberty is useless, and we've proven that wrong with the finasteride documentary, among other videos. But you've permanently got 5AR1 and 5AR2 in pubic skin and skin around your body and various tissues, okay? Your scalp, obviously, permanently. Body doesn't make mistakes like that. DHT, I don't even think we should have that conversation because it's ridiculous. But yeah, DHT is very important. But the masculine feels and the sexual benefits from having elevated DHT are paramount and unmatched. Some people on TRT, I've just seen this for the last few years, really getting into it, don't get enough DHT from TRT, or the DHT that they're converting, it's just really not doing a whole lot at the receptor level, or maybe at the RNA level. It's a really difficult one to determine why people are unresponsive to their own DHT. And so some guys on TRT just have to be on DHT derivatives. Okay. That's the statement that I want to make. And it's okay. It's okay. I much prefer them in my regimen versus not. Otherwise it's high dose prop to get enough of that DHT. So yeah, DHT is really important. Prop feels. Yeah. I had another barrage of emails come through over the last week that were like, hey man, I've been on just a long ester for a while and saw your podcast with Vigorous Steve, one of them, and some of the other content I've done around test prop specifically. Switch to prop feels so much better. Like energy and mood specifically, just so much better. And of course, I mean, it's a completely different neurotransmitter profile. People have to understand the test is not test. It's not at all. I mean, if you're peaking super physiologic in 6 hours, the dopamine synthesis is very different than, a peak over 48 hours. It's a very different neurotransmitter profile. Yeah. So, prop is awesome. Last thing I wanted to say is, was turned on to this from Vigorous Steve on our podcast earlier this week. I got some copper peptide. So this is hair growth serum. It's GHKU copper, among some other ingredients. And you basically just apply it topically. I have been using, so this is my derma roller for those of you interested. Okay. This is a 1.5 millimeter derma roller. Look at that. Look at those, okay? Just so people are fucking clear, bro. You want to draw blood. The last 3 days I've been using this copper serum, kind of derma rolling it into the scalp. Hard to say where it's going. Again, I experienced a degree of hair loss with Proviron and cream. So I really kind of want to be on top of that. And I've restarted Proviron just for the fuck of it, because I fucking love how I feel on it. So back to 25 Proviron, still 70 milligrams prop every other day. That's where I'm at. Okay, let's get to questions. Brother. Someone's here for the brother. I love it. I love it, man. Nobody does it better than the Hulkster, but I'll take it. Okay, I got a question about NAC. Is NAC good for weight loss? No. No, NOC will do nothing for weight loss. Yeah. Weight loss is a matter. I mean, weight loss is largely controlled by calories in, calories out, despite what people are going to tell you. You know, people that go on keto, carnivore, and lose weight, they're simply in a calorie deficit. They've got more protein as well, which helps. You know, carbs are calorie rich foods. You know, that's just the bottom line. If you're eating bad carbs, right? The carbs that I eat are rice, potatoes, etc. Those aren't bad carbs, so it's not a substantial amount of calories when I eat them. But generally speaking, it's your diet and it's your hormones. Yeah, it's your hormones. You know, talking about DHT, like, God, the difference in fat loss on DHT derivatives, like that I experience personally, is astronomical. I mean, it's like fucking crazy compared to just being on like a long ester and that's it. Like, you know what I mean? Prop and Proviron, the fat loss is incredible. Cream and Proviron, the fat loss is incredible. I got, you know, I don't know what body percentage I am right now fat wise, but I got shredded with just cream and Proviron. I only ran it for 26 days. I got fucking lean really quickly. I didn't really change a whole lot in my regimen, you know. But yeah, I mean, one of the things that keeps me lean in addition to hormones and diet is I run every day, you know, every day that I can. And running is an incredible way to stay lean. You might lose a little bit of that shoulder cap, I've noticed. So good thing I'm on high doses of fucking test. But yeah, I mean, you know, you just got to do some cardio. You have to eat well. If I'm going over in calories, I know it. It's either on a cheat day I did deliberately, you know, or I'm just eating a little more per meal and it kind of starts to creep up and I know it. But also acutely, I feel it in my digestion if I've eaten too much. I mean, you should be able to be in tune with your body enough to know when you have eaten too much for the day. You know what I mean? And then you take the next couple of days. I was at a barber, this was months ago, right? And there was like this, it was a tirzepatide commercial or something, one of those weight loss peptides. And the barber, this Italian guy, was like, you know, why don't you just, people don't understand, you eat a lot one day and then you just eat a little less the next couple of days. And I go, yes, of course. Like that's how it's supposed to be. You know, you got to be aware of those things. So I don't think NAC's really going to contribute to weight loss, but all that other stuff does. All right, rack poll. Do the majority of your TRT consoles do better with HCG included or without? Or do you find it's pretty evenly split? It is not evenly split. People do better with HCG. Yeah, people do better with HCG. You know, you whether you've got DHEA, well, so it's all contextual. I mean, a guy that's on TRT plus Proviron, because Proviron, DHT, like optimizes functionality in the vas deferens. So you're transporting, you know, semen material more efficiently. There's all this intratesticular optimization that Proviron does. You know, Proviron will shut you down at 50 to 75 milligrams a day, but 25 a day, not really. You know, maybe to an extent, but it enhances ejaculatory reflexes, penile sensation, erection quality, obviously. And so it really all depends. Otherwise, though, if people don't want to run DHTs, or if they do, but they want significant volume, testicular volume, because it's, you know, it's a cosmetic thing, which I want and I understand. Like I like the volume. Then you know, running HCG is pretty paramount. At the same time, HCG is useful in giving you a little more estrogen when your protocol doesn't give you a ton of estrogen. Like Prop and Proviron together, you're not going to make a whole lot of estrogen. You're going to be antagonizing it at the genetic level after estrogen binds to the receptors. You know, there's this translocation and genetic expression that is necessary for estrogenic like effects. Whereas if that's blocked, which Proviron or DHT will do, then you get less of those effects, right? So, you know, sometimes people need HCG in order to have a little more estrogen, because lower estrogen is fucking with their libido, their mental libido, you know? So more people with HCG than without, no question about it. Yeah, no question about it. Okay, JP. In your opinion, how long will it take until we have a definitive solution for androgenic alopecia? Good question. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that you can do in the meantime, and there are solutions, but they're disparate out there on the web. They're lacking scientific validation, which prevents a lot of people from doing anything. A lot of them, they have to be done properly. So if someone does it improperly, they're going to contend that it's not effective. Like there are people out there saying this stuff, GHKU copper, is not effective for hair regrowth. I beg to differ. I've looked at the literature on it, which in PubMed, published studies show that it's effective for hair growth. So people just may not be executing it correctly or using a derma roller with it, which is what I was turned on to by Vigorous Steve. And I've recently, started doing. I don't really have results, but my hair has certainly gotten thicker. Like I really have like kind of here, which is a little lacking, but up top here, when you're balding, your hair going over the middle of your scalp, you'll see spots. And I had sky high DHT for 30 fucking straight days, and my DHT is usually always high. I've got good genes. And somebody recently commented like that, when people say you either have the genes for it or you don't, that's sort of like retarded or something. Actually, genetic studies have been done, and there is an etiology of androgenic alopecia, or people more susceptible. And one of the things that happens is in the bald spots versus the non-bald spots, there's actually a higher density of ARs. Okay, there's actually more ARs in the bald spots versus not. So it is genetic, but DHT past a certain threshold, no matter what your genes are, is going to start causing a problem. But yeah, I look, copper may be a good solution. This here, I'm just dropping 3 or 4 drops, rubbing it into the scalp, and then derma rolling it in, trying to get it into the follicles. So far I've only been using that for 3 days, so I don't really know. Derma rolling's been effective though, honestly. For a guy with good genes whose hair grows back anyway, derma rolling has been very effective, for me. But you got to, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. See that? That's 1.5 millimeters, boys. Okay. We're not doing that pussy shit at 0.5 millimeters. You're drawing blood, bro. You're drawing blood. Best PCT from Proviron. If you took Proviron and you got shut down a little bit, I really wouldn't do anything. I would just kind of let it go and let yourself get back to normal. But I think you have PFS, so I wouldn't be PCTing anyway. I'd be on androgens for sure. Is it worse to have high prolactin levels or estrogen levels? 100% prolactin. 100% prolactin. Yeah, look, I bring people onto the podcast and they may say things that I disagree with, but I'm giving them the mic. I'm giving them the mic to talk about their experiences. And one of those people is Ryan Root, who we had on a couple weeks ago. He's the owner of a UGL that got indicted in 2015 for a big steroid kingpin operation. And, he was contending that prolactin really isn't a problem. That's not true. That's not true in my experience, at least. I don't know if maybe his guy's on super physiologic levels of test and he's doing other things to mitigate that. But prolactin has inhibition of blood flow, probably via an endothelial mediated mechanism at the base of the male organ, right? Very clearly. But also prolactin at the receptors does a lot of negative shit to erectile function. It actually interferes with tubular and fundibular dopamine neurons in the hypothalamus, which prevent you from having mental libido. So yeah, prolactin's terrible above range, terrible. The more it stays there, the more problems you have. Yeah, the more it stays there, the more problems you have. Not the least of which are the inhibition of the 5-alpha reductase enzymes, okay? Which don't recover necessarily if you've been hyperprolactinemic for a long time. So estrogen is actually pretty good for libido, but there's a range, there's a threshold. Again, it's like there are some men on TRT that between 20 and 30 is their sweet spot, and that's where they need to be for various reasons. I have theories about that. Then there are guys that need to be at 45 because they've got very, very high testosterone. They can tolerate a little more estrogen, and 45 is the sweet spot. Very few people can push above 60 without having noodle dick, basically, right? Once you get above a certain range, you got inhibition of blood flow in the penis, and then you got erectile issues eventually. You might take some time to get there, but eventually you have those. So estrogen is very important for libido, particularly in aromatization to estrogen in the brain is important for libido, right? You knock that estrogen down too much superficially and you're not going to have libido. Although when I took my estrogen down to 15 by going down to 70 milligrams a test a week, my libido was sky fucking high. But if I took that down with an AI, it wouldn't be that. I would be basically non-existent. So, aromatization, aromatase enzymes, blocking them is very different than lowering estrogen naturally. Prolactin's 100% worse. Proviron God said, I crushed my estrogen with too much Proviron and tadalafil, taking weeks to get it back. Yeah, well, brother, I think that it would be better to have a test base with Proviron. Yeah, anytime that I'm talking, I don't know if you had a test base or not, bro, but anytime I'm talking about Proviron, especially in the context of sexual dysfunction, I should say, and it's my mistake if I haven't said that you need a test base with Proviron. Otherwise, the estrogen's just, it may on the blood stay relatively stable, but you have very little genetic expression of estradiol after it agonizes the receptor. Because after the receptor agonizing is the genetic stuff that really makes you feel estrogen or have estrogenic-like effects. It's about gene transcription, and that's inhibited to a large degree with a lot of DHT. So Proviron will do that. So be on a test base for sure if you're running Proviron. I mean, look, people do Proviron alone as well, and they really don't have a hard time with lower estrogen. So fucking weird, and we'd like it not to be the case, but everybody's different. Yeah, everybody's different. I don't know if you're on test or not, but if I were you, I would definitely be on test. You are welcome, brother. All right, Post-Nut Clarity saying, how do you transfer from long ester to prop? I just switched right away. So from injecting prop from Cypionate, yeah, literally the next day I just started injecting. And the first time I did it, I felt a little, I guess I felt just anxious. Like I actually had anxiety at various points in the day, mostly at nighttime. And that lasted, I want to say 3 days or so. Yeah, or maybe a little more. It was a little rough the first time with prop. The second time, I just kind of grinned and bared it through that first small period, and then it all leveled out and I was fine. Now I'm on prop. I probably always be on prop. I don't know. Prop or cream, I don't see myself ever going back to a long ester. And yeah, I feel fucking great. Yeah, I feel great. In fact, I had to run a long ester for a trip. I just pinned a mill at once, like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or something. And I had anxiety like nights 1 and 2. What the fuck is that? It's the test estrogen ratio, which is constant test around. Whereas with prop, you get a trough. It's just different pharmacodynamics. And I also got like acne from literally that fucking one injection that's just sticking around. I have like some acne here, and I have a spot back here and a spot in the middle of my back, which is a giant pain in the ass. Yeah. So make the switch, go through what'll be 3 to 4 weeks of the cypionate getting out of your blood, maybe shorter. The defined pharmacokinetics are not applicable to everybody. You metabolize stuff differently. You metabolize from the depot differently. It's just not as linear as science would make it look. So yeah, just make the transfer. You're going to start fucking feeling better mentally right away. If you have a little overstimulation, give that time and it'll taper off as that cypionate gets out of your system. All right, Matt's asking, what would be the best time to test your hormones if you're running injections twice a week? 3 times a week subcutaneously, 3 times a week, or subcutaneously for hormones get it accurate. Okay, so for all these, if you're doing twice weekly, you're going to be, if it's a long ester, you're going to be relatively stable the entire time. So day 3, though, will probably be you coming down both in testosterone and estradiol. If you want to be advanced about it, you test both. You test at your peak, which would be really day 1.5, day 2. If you can make that work, which is kind of impractical schedule wise, because it might be 8 p.m. or something. I don't even know if Quest or LabCorp is open at 8 p.m. And then also, yeah, on the trough, which would be day 3 in the twice a week injection example, just to kind of see where you're at. Then you can get an idea of where you're peaking roughly if you peak on the trough. Traditionally, people do nadir dosing, half a mil or something, or maybe 120 milligrams of SIP every 5th day. You run labs on the 4th day or later in the day or something, or maybe the 5th day morning to see where your trough is at. Then you kind of have an idea of maybe where your peak is at, but ultimately you know where your trough is at, and that's what's important. 3 times a week, again, you're going to be so stable it really doesn't matter. If you're running a long ester, your levels are going to be pretty stable. You want to plot that out on steroid plotter so that you can see when your peak is and when the trough might be, but it's not going to be much of a peak and not much of a trough. The tighter you get those injections in terms of frequency, the less trough and peak you have. So that's just kind of how it goes. Sub Q, who the fuck knows, man? I think sub Q, me personally, I don't like it. I don't really love sub Q. And it just, you're pretty stable. You're even more stable with sub Q. So you're doing it consistently, I mean, your bloods are going to look relatively the same. Yeah, I mean, I was at 1150 on 210 sub-Q daily injections when I first started. 1150 total test, 35 estradiol, no HCG, and it basically stayed the same every time I tested it. Thereafter, it's the same, but that was daily injections. I would consider yerba mate a nootropic. Yeah, yerba mate is pretty powerful. Yeah, for you nootropics folks, are just anti-performance optimized, centered people. Yeah, buy some yerba mate in powder and take like 50 to 100 milligrams in a 00 capsule. Weigh it out and take 50 to 100 milligrams. It's a fucking energy-inducing compound. It's a pretty great nootropic. In the methylxanthine class, like caffeine is, and teocrine is. Theobromine is what you really want. You don't want yerba mate. You want to get theobromine, which is the active stimulant ingredient in yerba mate. But yeah, it's powerful. I literally have theobromine powder downstairs, and I use it occasionally. And I like it. I like how I feel on it. I really like how I feel on it. All right, Tanner Wolf was on 150 tests weekly, 1,000 IU HCG every other day. Testicular volume was good, but semen analysis came back 0 concentration. Just dropped the test because fertility is vital. What could the problem be? You're on it. The problem is probably that 1,000 IU HCG is too high. My guess at this point is you desensitize the LH-FSH receptors, which does happen on too much HCG. That's too high of a dose of HCG. It's way too high of a dose. Yeah. Also, though, what you should probably do if you really want to maintain fertility, first of all, lower that HCG dose to like 250 every other day, maybe 500 3 times a week. But get on test prop. That'll enhance fertility to an extent because you're preventing as much of the shutdown that you would have with a longer ester. But this might be a testament to folks, like, don't dose HCG that high, right? Because go find the literature because it's out there. Too much of high doses of chronic use of HCG reduces the amount of LH-FSH receptors intratesticularly. That's downregulation. That's what that is. Okay, that does happen. So you don't want to do that. And so that could be part of it. But semen analysis came back 0 concentration. I'm not even really sure what that means. You might want to expand upon that. Like, you have no motility. You have mobility rather. They don't move. There's obviously some semen there. Like, you got to be a little clear on what's happening there. Yeah, it could, I don't think it's bunk. Look, if the testicles grew and there was better sensation and bigger load size, it's probably HCG. But again, you overstimulate those receptors, you reduce the amount of those receptors, and that might not have a positive effect. At the same time, maybe HCG alone with T is like not enough to bump fertility up. Might want to look at taking some Proviron. Proviron does enhance fertility. Like, it's like used for that purpose. I know that my loads and my like fucking ejaculatory reflex is much better on Proviron HCG tests than just test an HCG. So just something to think about. I would say Proviron, but you would, better for at increasing 5AR. You really upregulate the SR5 gene, SR5DR1. I forget what it's called, but it's just a gene that encodes the 5-alpha reductase. I think it's type 1 isoenzyme. And so you upregulate that gene expression with DHT. It's unclear if Proviron can do that. I think it can. But ultimately, you might want DHT cream, Andractum, or DHT powder. Yeah, maybe take it sublingual or mix it with a lotion or something. If you had a varicocele, would you have surgery first before having TRT? I suppose it depends on how bad it is, but not really. I mean, unless you think it's really causing some significant issue. What do you think it's causing? If it's causing erectile issues, is it causing some semen issue, like a load issue, like Beto-ish? I couldn't really see it doing that, but unless it's significant, I really wouldn't, obviously go to a urologist, have it scanned, get advice from a urologist on that. Ryan Parsons, supplements I incorporate daily, a bovine desiccated thyroid supplement from New Zealand every morning. Is it a gram or 500 milligrams? I forget. Pretty powerful shit though. It actually moved my T3 it moved my thyroid numbers and it gives me energy. That's pretty powerful. At this point, 6,000 IU vitamin D. Every morning I'm taking, say, 500 milligrams of Tudka in the morning. Krill oil when I have it. That shit's actually very expensive. B complex, mega B complex. I like a lot of B vitamins personally. I respond best to a high dose B complex. So I'm talking about thousands of percentages over the RDA in my B complex. It's called Bioactive B complex. You can get it on Amazon. It's a blue bottle. What else is in there? 20 milligrams DHEA in the morning. Once a week, 30 milligrams pregnenolone. Yeah, that's it. You know, later on in the day, 5 milligrams tadalafil, but that's later on in the day. Other supplements that I'm taking now, yeah, I've scaled back on supplements to a degree, and really I'm only messing with stuff that I need. I supplement sodium, sodium chloride supplement for running because I burn a lot of salt when I'm out running in the heat. So that's basically it. Okay, Shilajit helps somebody get their hair back. Interesting. Shilajit. Look into whether or not there's a mechanism. I'm sure there's got to be some if it anecdotally helped you. Ryan Parsons says he feels off with sub-Q and held more water. Plus the site injection was always irritated in the belly. You may want to try your quads. People do different on sub-Q, you know. For sure, I had more water retention with sub-Q too. I have more than one client whose estrogen nearly doubled on sub-Q. What the fuck's that about, right? It's supposed to lower it. It's not. It doesn't lower it. This isn't like magically lower estrogen. It prevents peaks. But you have constant aromatization, so that number might slowly over the course of a 40-day period just inch up because you have spillover from the day before. The dynamics of sub-Q daily administrations, you know, are not as touted. You know, you're getting constant everything. Now, if you can handle the aromatization, that's good. It's easy. It's painless. You know, it's not a fucking problem. But some people cosmetically, because of the water retention or in terms of sexual function, may not do well on it. Like I personally I nearly had, I could fucking get it up and I had a libido, but I didn't have like particularly powerful erections on sub-Q daily injections, even a high dose of test. You know, I need to at least go to every other day with a little bit of estrogen control, and then everything's fine. But I prefer twice weekly with a long ester. Yeah. All right, flow. DHA 5.5 nanograms per liter, which is slightly above reference range. Pregnenolone on the low end. What could that mean? Test 700. I don't know. Are you on TRT? Means you have a little lower pregnenolone than you should have, perhaps. Yeah. Get a birth control test and run that HCG. I think he did. How common is PSSD? More common than you would think. I think for PFS and PSSD, like the reports are like 2 to 3% or something, you know, marginal. But in reality, I think it's more like 10 to 15%. That's what I think. Yeah, that's what I think. And that's an aggregation of a lot of client data. Like, you know, I'm not just pulling that out of fucking nowhere. It's an aggregation of data and referencing all these situations in which men, both on the web, but in real consults with me, have PSSD or PFS. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, anywhere between 7 and 15%, frankly. That's really what I think. Coenzyme B kicks butt, kicks ass. Blue bottle, it's got to be the life extension. I think it is life extension. Yeah, that's it. It's a bioactive B complex. Pretty sure that's what that's called. Very fucking awesome. Very awesome. So we got some cerebral lysin. I got a cerebral lysin user. Starting cerebral lysin this week. Bullish on it? Sure. Yeah, sure. Cognitively, in the acute period, I felt smarter. I felt like I was on Hydra 21 or some other powerful nootropic. Yeah, powerful cholinergic nootropic. Definitely. I wanted to do cognitively intense stuff. Like I wanted to game, or I wanted to write things, or I wanted to read research papers the whole time. You know, I had more spontaneous erections on cerebral lysin. I don't know if, I know that in the literature, like you can enhance erectile quality by injecting neurotrophic factors into the penile tissue. I don't know if that had some interplay. And then enhancing neurotrophic factors is one of the resolutions for neurogenic ED. So it may help with erection quality. Generally, after taking it, it is hard to say if there were benefits, particularly around like blood vessel function in the brain, blood flow in the brain, because I don't really have a problem with that. So I think there might be a cap if you're already healthy in that area. Like you might not notice any improvements thereafter. I do not have any more cerebral lysin, but the moment I feel like I want to run it again, which I don't know, I could run it any time. I do like it. Then, God, what was I running? I might have been running 2 mil every day. I forget exactly what I was doing, but I fucking love the stuff, and good luck. And I think you'll have a good time on it. But importantly, if there's something that you've got to repair with cerebral lysin, then you're more likely to have a better response. For me, it just makes me cognitively an animal the whole time that I'm taking it, you know? And then that kind of just wears off as I stop taking it. All right. Ryan Michael is saying, have you ever looked into topical Proviron given its low oral bioavailability? So this is a myth. I don't know why people say that like the low oral bioavailability of Proviron is a problem. I'm not sure where you heard that or why this myth gets perpetuated. That's why it's dosed in 25 milligram quantities. You know, that's why it's dosed the way that it's dosed in the single oral pill. Yes, it's not absolute in terms of bioavailability, but it is substantially effective at 25 milligram pills since 1936. Okay. So no, I've not looked into topical Proviron. But topical DHT with DHT powder, that would be much more, and you require a lot lower doses pronounced of a DHT effect. You might start losing your hair fucking rapidly. You might have some prostate issues or whatever, but you know, yeah, there's always a way to make things better in terms of bioavailability. But no, I've not looked into making Proviron any more bioavailable than it fucking already is, bro. Thank you, brother. Yes, I'm a fan of cerebral lysin. It's a very powerful compound. If I ever had blood flow issues, brain blood flow issues, yeah, I mean, I'd be taking cerebral lysin, you know, relentlessly, continuously, honestly. Yeah. Like if I got the thing, which I didn't, but, or if COVID was really fucking with me, which it did, but, I got over that. Then I would be taking it a lot. Yeah. All right, Steve Strong, how do I get a consultation with you? I'm in Canada, by the way. Livecortex.com, right on the website, brother. And you book, you add it to your cart, check out, and that comes to our system, comes to me, it pings me directly. I'll reach out to you within 24 to 48 hours to set up the first call, depending on what you choose. Yeah. But if you're doing TRT, there's a TRT specific consult. If you want to work with me ongoing, there's a 1 month, a 3 month, a 6 month, and a 1 year. If you're wanting to do any of those packages, the one-on-one packages, please don't purchase it and email me first so we can see what your situation is so that I can figure out how to slot you because I'm nearly booked. But I can get you in if you need to get in, but I just need to talk to you via email first. Ryan@livecortex.com. Post your comment again, bro. Flo, have you made experience with the peptides P21? I don't know what P21 is. Maybe PT141 you're thinking of? And no, not MT2. All right, Ramiel with the super chat. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Hey, Ryan, does injection depth change the amount of aromatization happens while on TRT? It's an interesting question. A lot of people will like discount that question right away, but I won't. Because I think that, look, every difference in the way that you're injecting in the ester that's injected is going to end up in a different response. Yeah, it's going to end up in a different response. Like the difference in brain energy between cypionate and test prop is fucking crazy. It's this huge margin, right? Very big difference in mood and happiness and that dopamine like feeling and energy. I mean, I feel good all day because of prop, because my test is just doing this. And then at nighttime it peaks. And then as I'm sleeping, it starts to go back down, you know, and then the next morning I'm ready for an injection again. Or if I'm doing every other day, which I am now, 2 days, I'm ready for an injection. Then it's like super peak, you know, super peak at 2,300 or something, I think is where I'm peaking right now. And then back down to about 1,300, 1,400, something like that total test. So yeah. Different, but as far as depth goes, yes. So I can't explain this other than more blood vessels and a faster uptake of the testosterone, deep intramuscular versus shallow IM, or obviously sub-Q is going to be very fucking different, right? So I have clients where all we really did was usually I got to get them away from daily sub-Q and get them to twice a week intramuscular, and then all the problems resolve. Eventually, there might be some side effects initially, but the sexual system comes right back and all that stuff. So You know, I mean, how can I explain that other than that I just explained, like the depth and the blood vessels and the a better transport. You got more free flowing ability to transport that the stuff from the depot via blood, more blood. Deep intramuscular versus shallow IM as an example. Yeah. You know, when I run my prop, I'm running prop every other day, 70 milligrams. I'm injecting that deep intramuscular. Now, it's not a 1-inch needle, but it's a 5/8 inch needle. Okay. So it's deeper than a 1/2 inch insulin pin. And the needle itself is actually slightly lower gauge. So it's thicker, you know, it hurts a little more, but whatever. I like that. I like getting that fucking prop deep into my muscle, you know, deep into the glute, brother. So regarding aromatization, this is the bottom line with aromatization. It's unfucking clear. Despite what the studies tell you and despite what people tell you, I've seen the complete opposite in real life. I've seen just the opposite of what people are saying it does or whatever. So it's really unclear. With a deep intramuscular injection, you will get a faster peak. And it's unclear whether that means more estradiol or more estradiol for a shorter period of time, after which the estrogen goes back down. That's what I've seen in my own blood work and some clients. And so that's what I ultimately think. You probably get a higher peak of estrogen, which is good for libido, but then it doesn't stay there enough to fuck with your erections. It goes back down when you trough, then you inject again. Then your estrogen's kind of lowish. You inject, you get all the benefits of high androgens, low estradiol. That estradiol creeps up, gives you libido. Cycle repeats itself. Great question though. Ryan, thank you for the super chat. If you got a question along with that, send it, bro. Hey brother, appreciate the kind words, man. And fucking hope you're doing great. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday, brother. If you guys got questions about your protocol, about testosterone in general, about prop, about cream, I've done everything. I've used every ester. I've ran labs on everything. I've been at 1150 total test. I've been at 3300 total test. I've been at 150 free tests. I've been at fucking 900 free test. Dude, you should see those labs. I think I probably still have them somewhere around here. They are outrageous. That's the crit. Yeah, here we go. If you got questions about what this feels like, let a brother know, man. Let him. I actually felt phenomenal around that time. Walking boner, dude. Pretty crazy. Okay. Zayed, currently weaning off SSRIs. Any tips on what to use when coming off? Was thinking about using CLAC and CMAX long term. Yeah, that's a real hard one. I honestly, I would just say androgens, dude. I honestly would say get on testosterone, dude, because like you're weaning off of that shit and it's like on it, and then, but especially when people come off of SSRIs is when the sexual stuff happens, when the sexual system breaks. So, you know, via prolactogenic mechanisms, gonadotropin deficiency, and probably other mechanisms as well. So if I were you, I would get on testosterone so that you have enough dopamine synthesis and enough from the estrogen serotonergic activity. Because what you do with all the serotonin in the synaptic space induced by an SSRI is you downregulate the RAF nuclei, which is where you project serotonin into the brain, right? From the brain. You just project it outwards from this nuclei called the RAF nuclei, which means you're going to be making a lot less serotonin after you get off of the SSRI. So you want to stave that off by having adequate estrogen levels, which you would do by TRT. I'd be on hormones, dude. I'd honestly be on hormones, you know? I know that sounds like I respond with hormones to everything. Just hormones. Just go on hormones. But that's the truth. That's what I would do. If I had been on an SRI, was coming off, I'd get on TRT right away. Right away. Be in shape still feels like Dookie on Cypionate. Switching to cream only soon. How does it feel? Incredible. Incredible. I mean, you have to play around, you know, whether cream or prop is better for you. Some people get a lot of overstimulation from cream. I did initially, but then running it thereafter, I didn't anymore. So, you know, estrogen will still rise with cream, but it'll be antagonized at the genetic level via DHT that you'll hopefully convert. The more you rub on the testicles, the more DHT you convert, but the more you rub cream on the testicles, the more you shut down the testicles. There's a mechanism for this, and it's not in the literature, unfortunately. But I notice if I go to 6 pumps of cream, that's a high dose of cream, and rarely do people suggest that or even prescribe it. But I wanted to see. Yeah, I had pretty high DHT, but I actually lost some sexual function because I had just like a major degeneration temporarily. and testicular function despite HCG. So you're going to have to play with what makes sense for you. Maybe 3 pumps in the morning on the testicles, 2 pumps or 3 pumps later on the shoulders, you know, and then that balances that situation out. But yeah, I mean, start at 4 pumps a day, 2 pumps in the morning on the scrotum, 2 pumps in the evening on the scrotum or on your arm. So you're going to have to figure out which works best for you. If the scrotal application is enough not to cause, like, you know, massive testicular degeneration, which it can, but it's enough to give you enough DHT to really feel the libido and erectile benefits of it, then you stick with that forever. Yeah, stick with that forever. But you might find that prop is better. I don't know. Like when I was on cream, I was like, cream, it's just really easy, you know, and I kind of like it. And I have a lot of cream. I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to it. I don't think so. I was thinking maybe cream was slightly better, but honestly, prop is just slightly better for me. Yeah. I like prop a lot. So maybe you'll find that prop is better. James, hey, I'm working, so I can only listen. But before you get started, you get into how DHT keeps progesterone from turning you into a woman. Yeah, it's at the embryonic level. It's when your whole host of things happen when your testicles are developing and your male organ is developing, right? First of all, this sounds crazy, but this actually happens. You have, as a baby, you know, when all your organs are developing, your sexual organs, you for a period have adult level testosterone levels. Okay. You have adult level testosterone levels, and the adult level testosterone levels that you have as a baby when your sex organs are forming are from the human chorionic gonadotropin from your mother. Okay. It's from the HCG from your mother. Now, then you have conversion of your testosterone, your pretty high levels of testosterone as an infant in your mother's womb, into dihydrotestosterone via 5-alpha reduction of that test to DHT. The conversion to DHT prevents progesterone from agonizing, or at least having genetic expression at the receptor sites, into turning you into a woman. Okay, the DHT, the 5-alpha reduction of test to DHT, prevents progesterone from turning you into a fucking woman. That's what it does. Okay, that's what it does. And it also, obviously, the DHT itself is facilitating the development of your sex organs as a male. So how crazy is that, right? This is why, like, you know, progesterone cream in high doses is not a good idea for men. It's just not a good idea. I mean, it's a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, number one. But if you go back to when you were developing your sex organs, progesterone would have turned you into a fucking woman, right? It would have literally changed your phenotype, is the word? No, that's probably not the word. It would have oriented you toward becoming a woman. DHT is protective in the womb at turning you into a woman, protective from turning you into a woman. Via blocking progesterone's action at the receptor. Isn't that fucking crazy? It's also crazy that your mother's HCG gives you adult level testosterone for a brief period while that all happens. Fucking phenomenal. No one ever talks about that, but that's in the literature. That's what happens. Pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. So that's the explanation there. I hope that helps. Rich, can you recommend a stimulant that is not as harsh as caffeine that I can take on a daily basis? Caffeine disturbs my circadian rhythm too much at an hour after I take it. Looking for an alternative. Teacrine would be my suggestion. Yeah, teacrine. Yeah, use that stuff. It's a sister of caffeine, if you will, but the way that it modifies the adenosine receptors is slightly different in a way which is kind of more calming. Like, it's more of like taking caffeine and theanine at the same time. Alternatively, just take theanine with your caffeine. Yeah, and then you'll get the benefits of caffeine, like a faster brain, but you have less of that hardcore stim feeling, that stimmed feeling, which can be uncomfortable for people. And I understand that. Jeff, would you recommend taking anything along with modafinil? Brother, just mucuna purines maybe the next day so that you can stave off what might be mild depletion of dopamine, because modafinil puts it into use heavily. Ryan Parsons wants to give prop a run. Good fucking luck, brother. You're going to have a good time. Oh, do I have prop up here? No, I don't. Down I have a cabinet. It's just a cabinet in my kitchen with, I've probably got like 15 vials of cypionate. I've got a full vial of enanthate. I've got a bunch of provirin and UGL-HCG. And right in the center, front and center, next to the syringes and the prep pads, alcohol pads, prop. Good luck, man. You probably have a better time. Okay. I've asked, so you asked a previous question because of only anecdotes of Proviron having a qualitatively more intense effect if applied topically, similar to test cream. I don't imagine, so I imagine there may be a way to crush Proviron up and put it in DMSO or some, I don't know, like some lotion cream and apply it to the skin, and maybe that would be more effective or something. I think you'd be pushing hair loss territory quickly, but who knows? Who knows? But like the idea that Proviron alone is not bioavailable is nonsense. It's nonsense. It's very fucking powerful. It's very powerful. You know, is it, again, it's not absolute, meaning 100% bioavailability, but you don't need that. You don't need that. Proviron is so strong at binding to the ARs, and making them do their action, DHT like a genetic action, that it's fucking crazy. It's crazy how powerful Proviron is. So yeah, I think you've spent too much time on Reddit with that stuff. That's the thing. You hear so much weird shit that's just like, dude, people are making stuff up or theorizing too fucking much on Reddit around this sort of stuff. Just take Proviron. Just take oral Proviron. You'll be good to go. You will be good to go. Oh, it works. It works, brother. Marion, what are your experiences regarding the range of testosterone in nanograms per deciliter that can be achieved with a weekly dose of 125 milligrams of enanthate? I think people are going to respond differently. Again, 210 of test sip daily injections. This is my first ever protocol. 210 a week, no HEG. I went to 1150. That's 210 milligrams, But now, had I been injecting that whole 210 at once, I probably would have went to 16 or 1700. So you're probably looking at between 900 and 1100. You're probably looking at between 800 and 1200. I really don't know where that would go because it depends on you. It also depends on if you're injecting it intramuscularly versus not. You can have a higher peak if you inject intramuscularly, no question. Yeah, because more will be distributed at a time. So you have a higher peak with IM versus sub-Q, in my humble opinion. But it's unclear. It's unclear where you're going to go. You might only go to 780 or something. But I'll tell you what, on 125, if you're pinning all at once, that's your best bet to get the most peak for sure. Okay, how is this is a good question. How is your drive and competitiveness change on prop daily versus every other day? Well, the difference between prop and cypionate in terms of all that stuff is astronomically different. It's significantly different, right? So that's one thing. Over because you peak very quickly and you peak that day. You don't have to wait 2 days to peak, and you don't get as much of a peak with cypionate. You can't even dose it high enough to get as much of a peak as you would get with just 50 milligrams of prop or something. Daily prop, I got to run to feel that really powerful, feeling like 50 milligrams a day, which is pushing 350 milligrams a week, which is still just TRT for me. It's not a cycle. I like a bolus of everything. So like I like 70 of prop every other day. That's what I'm running now. 70 of prop every other. That's just what I like. I've run 100 every third day. Fine. More hair loss. My libido was outrageous, but then it kind of took a nosedive on the third day, which is not good if I'm dating. I'm just like less interested in sex in that case. So 70 every other day is a good sweet spot. The most optimal protocol for me for everything is 70 every other day of prop with 25 Proviron every day, which is what I'm on right now. Yeah, by the way, I brought Proviron back in. I don't care. I just love it. I love how it fucking feels. So 25 Proviron in the morning every day, 70 milligrams test prop, deep intramuscular every other day. But, if I was on, so I've also run 20 a prop, 25 a prop a day. Fine. 30 a prop a day is really where it gets into, okay, I feel really fucking good. 30 a prop a day. Yeah. But 70 every other day is better. I just feel, I feel even maybe, I feel very, very strong the day of. Today I injected prop. 70 milligrams, like, what time is it? 9:50? 3 hours ago. 3.5 hours ago, 70 milligrams intramuscular. It's already peaking. It's already going like this. Feel great. All right, Zayed, only have access to underground labs, so I'll look into it when coming off the SSRI. Currently running Pharma HGH for anti-aging. Okay, interesting, bro. good luck. But yes, if all you have is UGL, me and Vigorous Steve talked about this regarding Primobolan. If Primo is what you need for TRT in addition to test, because that's the case for some people, it's just the fucking case. You're never going to be able to dial in without a DHT derivative. It's just the case for some people. Then, it's not pharmaceutically prescribable or available. You got to get it UGL, and you got to do that forever. And if that's the case, get rid of the stigma, get rid of the thing in your mind that goes, oh, I hate that fact that I have to do this. Who cares? You need it, get it. And if it's test in this case, go for it, bro. Ryan feels okay on Cypionate, but Ryan has sold me on Prop and even Cream. Hey, brother. I mean, look, you can feel okay on the long esters. I don't feel as good on long esters as I do Prop, but I still feel good, Prop's just different. Difference between Prop and Cream regarding mood, energy, and libido. Well, that's a lot. Mood is always better on shorter esters for me personally and my clients. Energy the same. Libido the same so long as, that person is making adequate DHT and the estrogen's in the sweet spot. Yeah, that's basically it. But you'll find that, some people will want to not fuck with all the metabolites much, or bring a DHT derivative in, or bring aromatase into their regimen, or calcium deglucarate. They don't want to do the other stuff, which I get. They just want to live life and pin. So they'll pin 12 milligrams sub Q, just a low dose of Prop in the morning. They're still going to peak pretty high that day. And there, they really don't get estrogenic side effects or anything, and their dick works great, and they have good libido. So it all depends. Cream and Prop are pretty similar in how they feel, but I personally feel that Cream is a little sketchy in how it peaks. It just it peaks quick, man. I feel like the pharmacokinetics are just a little. I mean, the literature has it at hour 2 or hour 3. Hour 2.9 is the peak of Cream in total test. Think about that. And then you have a DHT peak at hour 5, hour 6, after which it remains physiologic, and then it starts to go back down later, probably later in the day, maybe the next day or something. So you can be pretty stable on Cream. But Prop, it's just something weird about Prop, man. I think you're peaking, it takes longer to peak, but it's still that day. Just kind of later on, it's just doing this, but it doesn't feel. I never feel overstimmed on Prop. Yeah, I'm running 280 a week, 280 of Prop a week. I don't feel overstimmed ever. I go to sleep like a baby. I wake up energized, just feel fucking good, bro. Rich, thank you for the super chat, brother. If you have a question, please ask it. Best Bud, why do doctors give pregnant women progesterone? Well, wouldn't that be bad for a developing male? No, again, it's probably necessary for a developing male. Right, but it's importantly necessary for the mother, probably in something related to the uterus or giving birth or whatever. I don't know, but that's why it's useful for them. But again, your reduction of your adult level testosterone in the womb that you have temporarily from your mom's HCG to DHT protects you against progesterone making you a woman. Yeah, literally. So as long as you're able to convert your test to DHT, which you are as a baby, you're building those 5-AR enzymes right away, in that whole process, then you're protected from progesterone making you a woman or giving you micropenis or something fucking crazy. People end up with a male sex organ underdevelopment and problems with development, specifically because of 5-alpha reductase deficiency, or something went wrong in the encoding of 5-alpha reductase in that process. And then progesterone is able to basically, almost make the sex organ area female-like. Yeah. So, but there's probably some benefit to progesterone, to the woman that's necessary, in the context of labor. Teocrine is awesome. Hell yeah. Dynamine is also pretty good. Both of those are good. Yeah. Jay Brody, how likely those getting genital anesthesia symptoms from PSSD actually have a prolactinoma from high exposure? How likely? I mean, you might be looking at 5% or something, 5-10%. Only way to know is if you test your prolactin and it's above 100, 250 is the clinical number, but if you got 100 prolactin, you probably have prolactinoma, or unless you've been taking kratom for a while, which would give you pretty high prolactin. or an antipsychotic that's blocking dopamine D2 receptors, then you'd have high prolactin. But otherwise, yeah, prolactinomas are pretty rare. I've had 3 clients with prolactinomas. None of them were on SSRIs though. Okay. One was one. Yeah, I think one a while ago that gave me his MRI and I did a video about it. Had taken an SSRI. Yeah. And gotten a prolactinoma, maybe from the SSRI and from all that fucking prolactin via the serotonergic action on prolactin. It increases it, right? In susceptible individuals. Maybe not everybody. The best way is to test prolactin. If it's substantially high, yeah, get an MRI. And, you know, when they scan your fucking pituitary, they will see whether or not it's enlarged. And you've got a mass there. And there you got your diagnosis. Get on cabergoline right away, and it will probably shrink the tumor as well as lower. It will definitely lower your prolactin, but it'll probably shrink the tumor. Rich ordered some cerebral lysine from Cosmic Nootropics. I think they're fine. Yeah. Yep. I've had clients use their cerebral lysine, so I think you're good to go. Ryan, you're welcome. Jay Brody, in the UK, we don't have sensitive estrogen blood tests. How do we optimize AI for estrogen protocols? Hard to say, man. Hard to say, because the regular estrogen's picking up like inflammatory shit. It's picking up other proteins, you know. So I don't know what you would do there, except for go by how you feel. Whatever protocol you experiment with that gives you libido, erections, a well-being, etc. You know, you go with that. And it's weird sometimes. Like I have a guy that only gets morning wood and has great libido when his estrogen is so high that his nipples itch. What the fuck is that? He's rare, he's a minority, but some guys just need a little higher estrogen. So maybe, you know, you need that. You just got to go based on how you feel. That's essentially it if you don't have access to estradiol sensitive. My bro, pinning 3 grams a sip. Good luck, brother. Yeah, see, I could pin, you know, 400 milligrams a sip in one sitting and feel relatively fine. I have a little anxious anxiety at night, like with the last 200 milligrams of cypionate that I pinned, but I personally don't like going above 250, 300 with cypionate. I just don't feel right. Whereas I can go to fucking the moon with prop and I feel like a god, because it's all different, bruh. Difference between a cycle and TRT. This is a good question. The difference between a test cycle and TRT, it's subjective to a point, okay? And what I mean is, like, if a guy responds best in terms of libido, erections, energy, you know, to 300 a test, that's TRT for him. Yeah. But then if he responds even better to 450 of test, that's a low level cycle regardless, meaning he's just going to be very anabolic, but still be getting TRT benefits. And TRT is supposed to give you libido, erections, energy, all that kind of shit, animalism, all that stuff. Anything above 500, you're pushed. That's a steroid cycle, whether mid-level or not, that's mid-level. 700 plus cycle, a gram, that's a steroid cycle, right? So that's really it. I know men, I guess including myself, I can do fine on 140 to 200 of prop, but I really, there's a higher echelon that I can feel and function while still being in reasonable doses. I feel better at 280. And I'm at 280 a prop a week. I'm not blowing up. I mean, I work out, like I run every day. I'm actually less anabolic, like I'm less saucy because I run and it flattens you out because of glycogen depletion while you're running. And so I could be bigger, but whatever, I really don't care. But people on Reddit would say my 280 of prop a week is a cycle, which is just so stupid. It's fucking TRT, dude. You know, it's TRT for me, man. So the difference is it's subjective. And if it's TRT for that person because they need it, it's TRT, right? Until you get to 400. And then it becomes a low level cycle, and above which you just keep increasing in the increments of, the categorical element of a cycle, mid-level, high level, that sort of thing. Great. Glad that you got an understanding of that. And yeah, and I don't know if progesterone functions, in some negative way, the same as it does in a baby in a womb. Obviously, no, but it shuts down my libido. 3 days. I'll have lackluster erections and my libido will leave my body with progesterone. Yeah. It's really weird, but that's progesterone cream. So don't have a whole lot of knowledge on that. I don't have experience on Masteron, but I just came across a pretty reputable source of Masteron, and I will get some. I have a lot of Primo coming. I have Primo in house, but I got, you know, an actual vial of Primo coming that I want to run. But you know, I like how I feel now. I'm on Proviron and Prop, so I don't know like what's going on, but I eventually want to try it for the sake of, you know, having the experience myself, not just client work with these DHT derivatives with the Primo and Masteron. And so, you know, at some point, I will. Fernando, you're welcome. Thank you for saying that, brother. I appreciate your sentiment there, man. Ryan, you as well. All right, Bruno, does it make sense to start with Sustanon and then switch to Enanthate? Or is it better to stick with Sustanon and enjoy the propionate peaks? Yeah, Sustanon, what do you got? Phenylpropionate, propionate, decawood. You have like 4 different esters in there. I mean, and then switch to Enanthate. If you get on Sustanon and you like how you feel, stay with Sustanon. Yeah, stay with Sustanon. Stay with it. You know, stay with what makes you feel better. There's no, like, I personally wouldn't use Sustanon because I just don't like how long esters are. I did better on Sip Prop Blend, 160 to 40 milligrams per milliliter cypionate versus propionate, which Defy makes, but not as good as just Prop, you know, not as good as Prop. So I don't really know the answer to that question, man. If you're going to start with Sustanon, do it, run it for 2 straight months and see how you feel, and then decide what you want to do from there. CJP is not a killer protocol. 140 milligrams a week of test prop and 90 of Masteron and Enanthate. That's exciting, bro. I bet you feel great. You'll have some pretty good anabolism, you know, especially with that Masteron in there. And, you know, because Prop is anabolic, but less anabolic than cypionate in my experience. So, good fucking luck, man. I think that's good because you'll have some estrogen control, but importantly, you'll have a good bit of that DHT like input. Yeah. I mean, people, again, it just underestimate the power of DHT. On TRT with HCG, with estrogen kind of in my sweet spot, it could go a little above and it really doesn't fuck with it too much. Too much and too much is too much. I've got like, if I date and I'm in a proximity with a woman, I want to touch her, like all the gears start going. If I have her naked in my bed, I'm very, very interested. But I don't think about sex like all that much during the day. Yeah, I'll think about it, right? But like, it's not overwhelming. Test Prop HCG Proviron. Random erections, thinking about sex a lot. Sometimes to the point where it bothers me, which I like. I want my libido to bother me, you know? So DHT derivatives, man, I mean, and you're not going to get that for some people. Some people are not going to get that. If you want that, the infamous teenage libido on TRT, you're not going to get that on TRT until you bring a DHT derivative in, or until you manufacture more DHT via high dose DHEA, and you know, with your protocol, maybe some calcium glucarate. Interestingly, I found that with test increase fucking DHT. Hard to explain why, but it does happen. That's an interesting protocol, bro. Any experience with ipamorelin? No, I have it, but I haven't used it. What did I recently? Somebody in the hair loss forum was saying that ipamorelin may aid in hair loss, like growing your hair, growing more hair. It makes sense. Growth hormone. You know, I don't know. I'm not, you know, I think the anabolism benefit from ipamorelin would probably be marginal. For a natty, it might be significant. For someone that's on TRT, it'd probably be marginal. But who knows? Who knows? You know, I haven't used any growth hormone peptides, have I? No, not yet. I mean, no, I haven't. I have not. I have them. I have ipamorelin. So, but I'm not itching to try it. You know, I get pretty good anabolism from 280 a test and now 25 of Proviron a day. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Okay, have I compared oxandrolone to Proviron? I haven't taken the Anavar that I have. I have 23.5 milligram capsules, or I think they're tablets, compounded tablets from Defy Medical, from the Empower Pharmacy in Texas. And I'm doing other stuff right now. You know, I'm doing other stuff. I don't need the anabolism. I don't want to I don't really want to take oxandrolone right now. I don't want to have to fuck with my lipids, like do some other shit to manage them more, liver enzymes or whatever. I just don't care at the moment. I have it. And when the time comes to run it, I will run it, but I haven't been able to compare it. From what I know, though, in other people, clients, is that oxandrolone it's not really comparable in terms of the sexual benefits to Proviron. You'll get maybe a third of people who go, my libido is crazy on Anavar with test. But you're going to get like 2/3 of people, or more than 2/3 of people, that are going, my libido is crazy with Proviron and test, you know? So yeah, big difference. Big difference, brother. DJ Millen, any plans for nootropic content for your older fans? The last nootropic piece I did was, I believe, on Paracetam. It might have been a couple months ago, and it just got substantially less interest and views. So the channel has already transitioned, you know, and I was conscious it was happening and monitoring throughout, but it transitioned from a nootropic specific channel to, we'll talk about nootropics every now and then, and we'll answer questions regarding nootropics, but largely performance optimization and hormone capacity for men, you know, and a lot of that, it's just TRT, you know, so that's just where it's at. I've always worked on sexual dysfunction and sexual optimization, even while I was doing nootropics content, but I never really talked about it, right? So I've always worked on it, because a lot of people think that that's neurologically mediated, which largely it isn't, at least directly. It's hormonally mediated, which interplays with, you know, neurotransmitters. And so I've always kind of talked about this sort of stuff, but I've just become the person that people seek out for sexual dysfunction and for sexual optimization. Crypto Crayon, my total free was 98. I take 2 milliliters sip per week. So you're running 400 milligrams a week? Yeah, I think that's what you're running. 2 mil? Yeah, 2 mil a week. 2 mil a week is 400 milligrams a sip. I mean, if it makes you feel good and that's what you want and the bloods look good, that's TRT for you. You're pushing low level cycle though at that point. I think above 350, you're pushing that, I think. But you're looking good, brother. How much primo enanthate would you run to go with your 200? So I'm on 280 a prop right now. The primo enanthate is a rare, it's Bayer Rimabalin, and that's 100 milligrams per milliliter, just a singular vial. I've got 4 vials right now. I have a vial, 20 milliliter vial coming, just in case I like it when I run it and want to keep running it. I don't know. We'll see. I would run probably 100 milligrams, and I would do, I think I would probably do that sub-Q. Yeah, I'd probably do 100 milligrams sub-Q all in one shot, just to try to evenly distribute it to micro-release a bit per day of Primabalin. Yeah. If I found that I needed more bolus DHT-like effects at once, I would split that up and run 50 and 50. Yeah, 50 twice a week. But I don't think any more than 100. That's theoretical and based on client work. You know, that's where I'm aggregating that dose from. But who knows? It could change once I get into it in reality. All right. James is saying, I think Masteron is better, might be better for people like us, where our libido is better with slightly higher estrogen versus Primo being an AI. Yeah, Primo gets a lot of love, but healthier. Masteron might be healthier. Well, I mean, anything that lowers the anything that acts as an aromatase inhibitor, you know, is going to mess with the lipids to an extent, usually. So, hey, you might be right. You might be right. But I've seen no shortage of people taking Primabalin with tests and having sky high libido. So, you know, there's that as well, man. AL1407. Hey, Ryan, do you do your daily test injection sub-Q? I do every other day of prop 70 milligrams, and I'm doing deep intramuscular. Tried sub-Q, but got huge nodules. Therefore, can only inject IM daily. Alternating side delts. Love it. Cool. Yeah, if it works for you, it works for you. You know, some people don't do well with sub-Q for a variety of reasons. Not just the lumps, but other things. You know, I can't do sub-Q prop. It hurts too bad. Whereas 5/8 inch, somewhat lower gauge, deep intramuscular in the glute or the delts. The delts hurt with prop, but it's fine. Glutes really don't hurt. It's totally fine, but I couldn't inject sub-Q prop. It would hurt too much. It actually fucking hurts, man. Took 3 weeks, 6 weeks. Jesus. Masteron is supposedly healthier. Well, it really all depends on how, you know, what your protocol is. If you have a person whose lipids are so under control because they do a great degree of cardio and their genetics are incredible, either is fine. You know, I've seen Primo not do anything negative to people's bloods, but these are really healthy people who do cardio, etc. So real cardio. All right, nosy blacklight on test HCG, proviron, lackluster libido. Then I smoked weed and got super horny. What is the cause? Does this show something else I need to fix your libido? Yeah, it means it's probably neurotransmitter based, at least for you. And that somehow, you know, you don't, I don't know what your proviron dose is or your test dose or how much you're injecting at once, because that matters. If you're injecting frequently, you might want to inject more at once so that you get a better estrogen peak, and then your libido will be better. Yeah, definitely. Pot, though, is estrogenic, so maybe that's why. But it also temporarily releases some dopamine. So that's probably your answer. Hey, Jay Brody, is it okay to run 9 ABPC 50 milligrams for 90 days straight without breaks? Want to repair dopamine after Celexa? Yeah, it's not better necessarily. I always suggest the reason you take breaks on a 9 ABPC cycle is so that you can, one, see if it's made any long-term benefits, two, get alleviation from side effects that you might be having, like skin sensitivity to sun, which happens on 9 ABPC for some people. And those are really, and then you want a 2-week period to assess. Am I better? Is libido better? Is whatever I went on this for better? You know? So that's my assessment. And I mean, that's what I would say for that. I think 90 days straight is not going to kill you, and it's not going to really cause anything negative to happen unless you have skin sensitivity from the sun, side effects, in which case it's going to suck to be out in the sun. It doesn't feel good. But otherwise, yeah, no. Make sure though that dopamine is your problem. It may not be. So many things mimic dopamine deficiency, so it's just hard to get to the bottom of exactly what that is. Every single condition that fucks with your energy mimics dopamine deficiency because you feel terrible, you know. But you do have dopaminergic inhibition from high serotonin, so you're on the right track. I think that's fine, that protocol there, but I don't think that you'll get any less positive benefits, you know, if you just take a 2-week break in between. And ultimately, it's better. It's a research chemical, which we don't know over a continued period of time what it does. That's the only problem, you know, regarding safety. J Ross 22, hey Ryan, is the concept of daily nasal testosterone spray a thing? I've heard it mentioned once. What's it called? Natesto. There's a a daily gel you put in. By the way, the daily gel, and I believe oral TRT, but you might want to fact check me on that, but certainly the daily nasal gel does not peak or really significantly raise the metabolites of testosterone. You're only really bumping up testosterone, where testosterone in terms of anabolism is pretty effective, somewhat effective for nitric oxide. The power of testosterone is in the metabolites, specifically DHT, and to an extent estradiol. So with nasal testosterone administration, you're getting a lot less of the metabolites, specifically DHT. Yeah, that's in the research if you want to, you know, figure that out. All right, Darren, can you have a prolactinoma without high prolactin levels? I can't get aroused visually, have ED and asexual. Could it be high estrogen? Maybe high estrogen. It's probably your test to estrogen ratio, but specifically your DHT to estrogen ratio. The test to estrogen ratio is a surrogate. It's like how do I explain? Yeah, what's really a surrogate? It's like somewhat of a misnomer. What people really mean when they say test to estrogen ratio is DHT to estrogen ratio. Yeah, that's the real ratio. That's the real ratio you need to be aware of. But not having detectably high prolactin levels, you almost definitely don't have a prolactinoma. Almost definitely. Yeah, because prolactinoma is a growth of the lactotropes that sit on the pituitary. There are these prolactin secreting cells. And in order for you to have a detectable on an MRI mass in your pituitary gland, it's because those lactotropes or some cells, like in the case of acromegaly, right? It's GH, growth hormone receptors. But in this case, the lactotrope cells grow out of control. So in order for there to be a tumor mass, the lactotropes have to grow. And there's no way for the lactotropes to grow and you not secrete a bunch of prolactin. So yeah, almost definitely not. AB, from what I've heard, the benefit of Masteron is that you skew the androgen-estrogen ratio without actually lowering total serum estradiol much. It seems like Masteron prevents binding at certain... Yeah, probably as DHT does, prevents genetic expression of estrogen after it binds to the receptors. It's probably what's happening there. Also, though, the benefit of Masteron is the DHT-like effect at the ARs. Okay. Benefit of Masteron is the DHT. One of the benefits of Masteron is the DHT-like effect at the androgen receptors, which is much more pronounced. It has a much higher affinity. It actually has a different affinity than your inherent DHT. And it affects like the androgen receptor binding domains differently than your own DHT. What is the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to raising testosterone that's easy to purchase and take? Nothing. 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 Yeah. These days, I really won't suggest natural protocols to people anymore, just because I'm on the other side of exogenous hormones. And so, but I mean, if there was something that isn't testosterone, it would be HCG. Yeah, it would be HCG. It'd be dosing 2000 IU of HCG a week. That's what it would be. Microdosing daily would be fine in that case. That would be the lowest hanging fruit. Yeah. Yeah. That would be it right there. That would be it. Because the supplements, it's like we don't even know what's causing your testosterone deficiency to begin with. So supplements may be completely useless and a complete waste of money if it's some hypothalamus problem that you need to get a hold of, or, like if it's an intratesticular problem that you need to get a hold of. The supplements are going to be largely useless. If you're just a regular person that has 400 tests and would like to take it to 600, yeah, Fedosia agrestis, pine pollen, fenugreek, things like this, vitamin D, obviously. These things are going to help to an extent. All right. Crypto Cran's going to back off of that dose. I think you were on 400 milligrams. 2 milliliters a week is 400 milligrams. But yes, total free testosterone was 98 before starting. My nuts had called it quits for some reason. Yeah, you never know why. You never know why. My nuts called it quits at 30. At 30, man. I think it was because I had high prolactin from some nootropics, I think, that I was taking. That had to have been it. I was just mega experimenting non-judiciously at between 24. Yeah, as I was like leaving the army, I got my first batch of nootropics literally in my fucking barracks room. I was taking them and experimenting. And I'd been doing that for 6 years up until the point where I had then lost libido and morning wood. My prolactin wasn't super high, 27, but that's above range. And my testosterone was, 290? Very fucking low. So sometimes your nuts quit, but there's always a reason. There's always a reason for that. Always a reason, guys. Any other questions? If you guys got questions, post them. Hope you're doing great. I hope you have a great fucking Saturday. I'm happy it's the weekend. I usually like to work on the way. I mean, I'm working now, but like, I just like to not be stagnant, kind of thing. But I have had a very busy last couple of weeks with my previous company, my other company, Cortex Labs to an extent, but I own a web company here in Pittsburgh, and we have just gotten a lot of business and a lot of stuff happening in the last 2 weeks. So I've been very busy working on that company, and I'm kind of ready to take a break this week. I'm ready to have a weekend. Yeah. Darren, is it normal for a gram of Alcar to increase aggressiveness? It's normal for Alcar past your range to make you feel suboptimal in some way, anxious, aggressive. Yeah, totally. Acetylcholine is a excitatory chemical, right? I mean, meaning it makes neurons fire and makes action in the brain, kind of hyper responsive. And so, yes, that is, I wouldn't call it normal, but it's not abnormal for that to happen. Yeah. I really can't take doses above 500, 600 of Alcar. Because I won't feel aggressive, but I will feel anxious. I just feel like a little not right, just a little stimmed out of my mind, and I don't like how that feels. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably the Alcar doing it. I mean, I don't think there's any question about that, man. Yeah, it's the Alcar. Oh yeah, guys, Torque Stack is buy one get one free. Okay, I don't know if I put that in the chat. It's in the description. We run these 3 times a year. This nootropic stack that I built, okay, which is very fucking powerful. Buy one get one free. That's the best deal you can get on it. It's BOGO right now, and that'll be lasting probably into this coming week. I've got a certain amount of bottles that I've got to move of that. So yeah, my loss is your gain. Okay, buy one, get one free of the Torque Stack. I mean, if you want 2 capsules to take whenever you need it, in the evening, in the morning when you need energy, if you have a speech to give, if you need to be on point for a date, Yeah, take 2 capsules of Torque. Thank me later, bro. I mean, your shit's going to turn on quick. Better than Adderall for people. Better than Modafinil for some people. Very powerful. And it's buy one, get one free right now, livecortex.com. The code is in the description of this video. AB, if a DHT derivative makes me feel flat emotionally and physically and gives me some brain fog, is it plausible that estrogen's too low? Yes. That's what it's doing, and you need to increase your test dose, because that'll happen to me too. Yeah, I mean, that's one reason. Well, I mean, yeah, why I wouldn't dose any lower than 70 a prop while running Proviron. I need that estrogen. I need a degree of estrogen to feel happy, to be in a good mood. Estrogen is pretty powerful for that. And if it gets too low, like I've done with AIs or, I guess DHT derivatives, when my dose of test wasn't high, then I don't feel particularly good. So if emotionally you feel flat, it's definitely low estrogen. Now that'll balance out if you stay at that low estrogen level for like 2 months, but who wants to wait 2 months? I understand, it's like not particularly great, but yeah, the DHT derivatives, they do antagonize estradiol to an extent. Some of them will bind to the aromatase enzyme and prevent aromatization to an extent. It's not going to block it completely. But you got this like tandem thing where it's blocking the receptor site genetic expression that happens after binding. Where, yeah, I mean, if you don't have enough test to aromatize to estradiol, in those cases, you might not feel, in terms of your mood, you might not feel good. Yeah. And you might have lower libido. Like DHT derivatives can lower libido if the estrogen's entirely too low. You know what I mean? It's possible for that to happen. For some people, it doesn't fucking matter. It's just like whatever estrogen does. There's some people that whatever estrogen's doing, as long as that DHT input is there, they have sky high sex drive and erections that are crazy. So, it's just going to depend on the person. All right, boys, I'm going to end the stream. Great chat, great questions. Again, Torque Stack is buy one, get one free. Okay. So my brainchild, my nootropic stack, probably one of the most purchased nootropic stacks on the web, one of the most popular for sure. I mean, it's instant stimulant, motivation, and energy. It's buy one, get one free, all right, for a brief period of time. The code for that is torquebogo. It is down in the description of the video. Support the channel. If you don't want to super chat your questions, support us by buying Torque, because you also get something out of that. I mean, you get something out of asking me questions because I answer you, but you get the Torque Stack. It's very fucking powerful, guys. I made it for myself. I had been taking it for a long time and realizing this needs to be a product because it's so good. Before I made it commercial, and now it ships to 40 countries and pretty much everybody loves it. So buy one, get one free on the Torque Nootropic Stack right now. livecortex.com, down in the description of this video. You can find the code as well as the link. Happy Saturday. Back to content this coming week. Watch the podcast with me and Vigorous Steve on the channel, which I launched, I think, Monday or Tuesday. It's very long and very epic. We talk all things TRT and DHT derivatives. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great weekend. And yeah, I'll see you this week for content. Rock on, brothers. Go.